Gee, you know who that was? Yes, it ain't Kanye West. She said that. Not accusations. Yes, yes, yes. Dang. What's this? Well, my Apple Watch. What's that? Fuck you. Do you think we done? Yeah, I guess. I'm gonna go with yeah. Yes, it is, brother. Yes, it is, man. She said there. When do you think that? Well, I don't know it, brother. Where is it? I just know it's a group that's trying to tell me I'm contacting the police with a live recording with no one hearing them. In fact, you and another group keep on co-signing. That's right. Like I'm a part of their group. That was at the time, supposedly, it was her brother. That's it. Fuck you. Do you think we dumb? They said if I don't make a police report to a person who already act like he knew about my situation's coincidence, oh fuck you. What do he have the possible cause to do as a police correctional officer? Just say fuck you. Well, why would he want to know something to be talking via telepathy on my mouse? Did he do that? No, yes I did. She said that and that's so I said that on her lips. Let me go over here and write down the time. I've already been sketchy about the second meaning to COVID. So I'm just waking up this morning. Fixing myself some coffee. I feel really unusual. I don't know what time I went to bed. I could have sworn I said something about 3 a.m. If we crazy, just sit there and do not take care of this. Yes, it is. Then just sit there and yeah, I'm gonna just go to the time my video recording ended. Just say. Not the full video. Oh, this is the kind. Just say. 8 hours, 59 minutes, 15 seconds. So, just when I'm writing down videos, duration, if duration. Just say. I can hear it with the coffee pot. Yes, yes. Just say. They ain't human beings. Just say. If I'm crazy, other people earnest. I'm back at if I said there, everybody knows. And again, if I'm earnest, I'm back at that. She said there, then if request something, that wasn't me.
Memorandum of understanding on this morning is a $5 billion uranium enrichment plant.
I don't know, though, to be honest with you, but damn. Yes, yes, retouch. Yes. So, if you narrow it down, could be one of the ones who yelled from my lips. Yes, shoot. Yes. Do you think we ain't crazy? Listen. Because I am recording for reasons that would be I won't help. Yes, see. Do you know what this is? She said there it is. And I can say, where did I say that? She said there, I'm back. Where I said, where did I say there it is? Still sounds like the same individual. That's it.
Of one of our major inventions from a decades ago that produced a dramatic impact and benefits to.
That was eerie. So that was Fox 59 News this morning. And say,
So that is where all this stands at the moment, Diane. You know, the extension of the ceasefire went into effect overnight. And now the question is, what will be the next steps? And no one really knows what will happen. But certainly, the hope is that the bombs will not continue to fall, and that they will be able to come to some type of agreement. At least that's the hope among world leaders.
And Karen, where are things stand on the ceasefire and peace talks right now? What happens next? Right now, there are no talks that are scheduled. Of course, yesterday, Vice President Vance was expected to travel to Islamabad, Pakistan.
So we first heard about these attacks from the British Maritime Group about Iranian gunboats that were fired on 3 passenger ships. Now we got confirmation from Iran's Revolutionary Guard that they not only fired on 2 of those ships, but also seized those vessels, saying they're operating without required authorization. I believe we have some images, some maritime images of those 2 ships. And one of those ships, the Francesca, was linked to they were seized in the Strait of Hormuz. One of them suffered damage to the hull, And of course, this follows the U.S. capture of an Iranian flagship earlier this week, and it just raises the stakes over that ceasefire that was supposed to run out today, but was extended indefinitely overnight by President Trump. And I think we also have to remember, it's worth reminding our audience that that ceasefire isn't just between the United States and Iran, but Israel and Iran too. So we're awaiting a response from Israel if this is indeed a shift that's linked to this country. You might hear some music in the background. It is a holiday here today, so not everybody's in response to what is unfolding in Israel.
Right, so that was my question then, Charlie. I've been seeing where's the posture of what's listed in the region. We know, as communicated yesterday, there are now 3 aircraft carriers in the region. I mean, one is enough to get the hands of any potential adversary. 3.
Yes, because that's important, Glenn, when you talk or lose. Because there's been so much confusion and I guess wrangling and arguing of who controls the strait. It's technically the in fact, I would go even further than that to say that the Revolutionary Guard owns the strait. Because last weekend, it was announced by the Iran's foreign ministry that the strait had been to that, right? And reported it. Then the Revolutionary Guard said, regardless of what you're hearing on social, this is closed. If you're the ones who are inside. To say it's closed is not a complete sea. They're letting some of the ships go by. In terms of the U.S. blockade, you mentioned the 3 carriers that are in place. The Abraham Lincoln is the centerpiece of that blockade south of the Strait of Hormuz. And there are 12 destroyers that are part of that blockade. One of those destroyers, Screw, was involved in the interception of that Iranian cargo ship or Iranian class cargo ship that I talked about. They had U.S. Marines in there as well because the Marines from the U.S.
They're messing with me with a waist belt. That's it!
We spoke to Secretary of State.
Do you know what it is? Yes, you did not.
The Marines are still
There, isn't it?
searching the ship to see what was carrying.
Oh, it's a contradiction. You are. Yes, you ain't a contradiction. For a woman, when I first wake up every morning, talking in 2 places at once. That's it. Yeah, because you tell them the truth. Say that thing like. Oh. Jesse! Who the fuck you think you is? Just sit there and listen. Just sit there and listen. Yes, yes, yes. What is that?
Very delicate. So let's talk about what the president has said in a social media post. He claimed Tehran wanted to open the strait, but
What is it?
if we were to do that, there would never be a deal with Iran. So can you kind of sort this out for us? Because you've been calling for it to be open for quite a long time. So what is this kind of mixed messaging? Yeah, so, what you want, what really the world wants is for the Strait of Hormuz to be open, but the Iranians discovered weeks ago that they had a lot of leverage if they could simply threaten vessels that were coming into and out of the Persian Gulf and basically kind of freeze the global oil industry. And that prompted President Trump in retaliation to impose this blockade that specifically pertained to ships that were going in and out of Iranian ports. So ships that the U.S. believed were heading into the Strait of Hormuz and heading to an Iranian port, heading from an Iranian port, basically to punish the Iranian economy. And that's what until he has a deal, because that he sees as his leverage over the Iranians, because it is hurting the Iranian economy. It's literally going to be hurting the Chinese economy, because now the Chinese president said that this waterway needs to be reopened. So what you've got is both sides using leverage that they believe they have, force the other side.
So nobody's looking at this current live. What is it? Just sit there and listen.
So thanks so much for joining us. So the ceasefire has been extended. What kind of operations is the U.S. military and troops are even doing right now? Ceasefire being
That's it. Shit. A gang of black women. If we crazy that wanted to keep up with Muai's pace and act like they are smarter by talking via my lips. That's it. Then where is it we are crazy? Causing global wars across the country. If we crazy, do you know? Then, if we crazy, we are crazy. Do you just say this? So instead of actually truly running a country, you heard or saw someone stating if you leave, it makes you look guilty. If we crazy, do that say yeah. So they wiped the internet of the videos that were public of when she and her whole entire family jumped on airlines. If we crazy, do you? I'm not done. I'm back. I'm innocent. Where is it that is true? So there it is. Do you? I'm not done. I'm back. I'm innocent. Where? I'm serious. I'm back. I'm innocent. Do you think we dumb? There it is. Where is it that is true? I will have to get evidence. Yeah, I didn't see. There's that. When you said that, why did you? I said there it is. I'm back. Where? Why am I preparing this? We all lock me in. Do you think we dumb? Yeah. There's shit. No, fuck you. Where is it we are talking on your list? On this video recording. I said there it is. See, when you ask that question, just now ask her if it get off my lips. That's right. Do you know why they do that? Because they're trying to trigger me about thinking. If we crazy, do you think we dumb? And regardless if it don't work, they start messing with me with sexual voodoo feelings. If where is it we're doing that? She said there it is. We doing it in Aubergram Rebocquian. It's really Rihanna. Then she is not slow. Then do you wear that there it is? Just does that shit. This shit sound crazy. Now make it seem like Rihanna ain't retarded. Yeah, like we ain't crazy. Do you know who this is? Sit there it is. There, sit there it is. So all I know is the conversation in the hallway a bit loud. I can hear some word. We crazy. Do you there it is. I saw a male Asiatic going to the VA today. I went across the first time to where the Lions at the War Memorial Museum. If we crazy, did I ask it? She said, I'm not crazy. When did I say something about being crazy? She said, there it is. Then, where is it? I said, there it is. I'm back. Where? I'm not. Did I say this on your list? I'm back, man. Where is it? I'm talking on your list. Every day in these recordings, could tell. Yes, she's not done. Did I say who is the person? Okay. Then, let's sit there. I'm back. I'm and said, do you think we dumb? Yes, I'm Steve. Yes, why are y'all doing this to me? If we crazy, do that this. Who is this? Said that. Then I'm back. I'm missing. I don't want to know who it is. I'm asking indirect but correct. You ain't asking us this shit, bitch. We where? Oh, I'm not done. When I went crazy, I said there it is. I'm back. I'm missing. Do you know who this is? She said there it is. Katanji or Kataj. Yes, it's not. Do you think we dumb? Yes, it is. That I'm not allotted to write down the times. Yes, ain't that. Well, normally we get the opportunity to fight back in self-defense. If we crazy, do you prepare this? Say this. Then we ain't done. Why would we be retarded? Normally, I would get or be granted the opportunity to fight in self-defense before I get called a pussy. If fuck you, say there it is. Then if we crazy, there it is. Now, when you say that, why did you? Yes, I understand. If I'm not crazy, why did I say this on your list? I don't know. Yeah, I know you don't know. Dude, where is it? I don't know. Preparing this. Sit there it is. I'm back there and say, I'm not slow. If you say it is me? Yes, she's not done. Yes, it is. Sure. Do you? Why do you say that? She said there it is. Because she don't know. She said there. No, I said you slow. And you keep on saying you ain't. She said there it is. So now you know. Yes, Steve. Then Do you think I'm gonna jump your ass on the plane, Ketanji Brown, and show up outside Proctor Place? I will fight your slow dumb ass. Fuck you. Where is it? Do you think we dumb? There it is. Where is it you can fight a U.S. Supreme? Where is it I can hang? There it is. Who is the president? It said there it is. It's Trump. It said there it is. Trump. Yes, that's Steve. Now, we ain't crazy. We gonna have to be insane. Why did you say that? Who are your yes, who's the president? Was the question. I said there. Then do you know? She know that we be thinking it's Joe Biden. I said there. I've been recording for quite some months now. Yes, you have. There it is. Do you think we dumb? Yes, we is. Say it there, Nick. Did I say it's on your list? Say it there, mouth. Yes, you are talking on your list. Just like this round. Where is it we are talking on your list? Say it there, Nick. There it is.
National Republicans invested more in this race. There was some criticism that I heard from Virginia Republicans that they wish there was just more from the National Party in this type race. But it's something that ultimately gives the Democrats an advantage leading into the future.
David, and you'll know this too, but we did a lot of stories here at CBS News when Republicans launched a similar effort in the state of Texas. Help people understand explain the difference between how Republicans were able to change the map in that state versus how it was done in the state of Virginia. And is this the new norm? I know now that Republicans are looking to the state of Florida and Governor Ron DeSantis to do something similar in that state to bring about another change in the way that the state is districting. Just give us an overview from the bird's eye.
Yeah, I mean, so you're quite right. I mean, there's how different states have approached this. There have been states largely led by Democrats that have moved over the last couple of decades towards more redistricting commissions, nonpartisan redistricting to avoid partisan gerrymandering. And so states like Virginia and California had constitutional provisions that required that, and it required the voters to go to the polls to bypass those constitutional protections just for one or two election cycles. Both states intend to go back to those nonpartisan redistricting commissions for 2030. Texas did it purely politically. They were
Black answer. Do you know what this is? Sit there it is. Did I say just there it is?
And this is very, very rare. Mid-decade redistricting, voluntary mid-decade redistricting mid-decade redistricting are extremely rare. It's only happened about 3 times in the last half a century.
I just have to say something.
And this
These
year-
waste belts started prior to them talking from my lips. If we crazy, get that say there it is.
But Democrats will say that they perceive this to be necessary as a result of the president pressuring Texas, which was the first state to proceed with this mid-decade redistricting.
I mean, it really does feel like politics at its most unsavory, going in between,
Yes, they ain't done. Dan, do you think we retired?
To redraw the lines. But I wonder, does this reflect then a manufactured political will in these states, or is it a more current reflection of the people's will if they're in large part going and voting to approve these new maps?
Well, I mean, I think there's different messages that can be taken here. I mean, again, in many of the states like Texas, this is the legislature that acted. We never heard from the people who are really affected by this, the voters. We might hear from them this coming year when they get to vote for the state legislature. In California, the ballot measure to approve this redistricting passed overwhelmingly, much closer than by a much wider margin than Virginia. It passed by about 64% to 36%. So I think there are mixed messages here. I don't know that there's any long-term intention. I think this doesn't serve anybody. There are going to be millions of Americans who find themselves in new congressional districts with new choices for representatives. These are people who are, by their name, supposed to represent these individuals. And they're going to be confused about who's representing them as this political warfare is going on between the parties.
And quickly, what's the final tally then after all of this redistricting? What do we expect to be the final result? Has it all evened out?
You know, I think we're going to have to wait and see. One of the things about these redistrictings is they're all based on previous election cycles, all based on previous voting patterns. And it's going to be really difficult if this turns out to be somewhat of a wave election for the party who is not holding the White House, which is very common in the first midterm after a new president takes office. Then we could see all of these bets go out the window. So I think it's going to be very difficult to predict what's going to happen. Right now, it looks based on past voting behavior as it's pretty close to being even. I'd be interested to hear what Finn has to say about that. But that's I think November is going to tell us a lot, and it might not be what's expected.
All right, David Becker. Sorry, Finn.
No, I was just going to say, really, we have to really look at the next chapter here is going to be Florida and that special legislative session that governs the state is called for. I really do think that is going to be really significant here as we proceed forward into this cycle.
Yeah, and I know that some Republicans are hoping that Governor Young can try to challenge this in court, but even the most optimistic Republicans aren't feeling that their chances are good there. We'll keep following this, of course. David Becker, Finn Gomez, we thank you both as always.
That's the latest of a big money lawsuit after the FBI director filed a defamation suit against a major news outlet. Patel sued The Atlantic for reporting that he has, quote, alarmed colleagues with episodes of excessive drinking and unexplained absences. CBS News has not confirmed this reporting. The magazine calls the lawsuit meritless. You might remember this video in February of Patel chugging a beer with the U.S. men's hockey team after it won an Olympic gold medal. Elizabeth Steinbeck asked the FBI director about these allegations from The Atlantic.
I'm on the job. I'm the first one in. I'm the last one out. I'm like an everyday American who loves his country, loves the sport of hockey, and champions my friends when they raise a gold medal and invite me in to celebrate. I've never been intoxicated on the job, and that is why we filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit. And any one of you that wants to participate, bring it on. I'll see you in court.
Also on Tuesday, a judge dismissed Patel's lawsuit against a former agent who said on television that the director was more visible in nightclubs than in FBI offices. The government is pushing to make flying safer just in time for summer. And it's also looking to AI to help with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy about the projects and how soon these changes could come. This is CBS News 24/7 Mornings.
I just saw that video in like a week or so. That's it. Take care of this.
Don't use if you're allergic to Atlas. Allergic reaction infections can occur.
Then, who is the president? Share this.
You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Epilis. Before starting Epilis, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Ask your doctor about once monthly Epilis.
Kim's waterline broke. She's panicking. Pam's line broke, but she has a plan for home search. Kim gets this guy. Pam, a qualified contractor. Kim got a big bill. Save money. Plans from home search start at just $4.99 a month.
No matter where you're headed, it's nice to know Hubler Chevy's got you covered. Included with every new Hubler Chevrolet, our warranty covers all the main issues at no cost to you. Plus, service your car at any licensed repair shop in the U.S. or Canada. Hubler's got you covered for 200,000 miles.
DriveHublerChevy.com.
When I do it, I like to be thorough. My wife, she likes it done quick. I'm not able to go as long as I used to, but I'm more efficient.
To my understanding, as Middle East. You know what I'm saying?
Everything will fall apart. My ex-wife and I, we stopped doing it. Why do you think she's my ex? You know, I was telling my son-in-law, you gotta do it at least once a week, or my little girl ain't gonna be happy.
However you like to do it. Dealing with chemical bags.
Play the car.
I still remember the moment when the accident happened. I'm Mikla King, founder of BioLink. I had around 60 stitches and burns on my face. I spent a long time figuring out what true skin balance feels like. The pure essence transforms into the mask itself, creating a unique skincare experience. The longer it stays, the more your skin finds its balance, feeling light and lovely. It's not about selling more, it's about sharing life-changing transformation. Beyond trends, we're creating something that lasts.
Resort to greatness at Terra Health Casino Resort. Live it up in style. Play at the top of your game. And experience it all on another level with Fast Track Rewards. Your key to more. All new members win up to $2,500 free play. For details, visit TerraHealthCasino.com.
Welcome back to CBS News 24/7 Morning. Take a look at some of the top stories we are following right now. The U.S. Supreme Court just handed down decisions on 2 technical cases this morning. We're still waiting on rulings for cases involving redistricting, transgender athletes, and the removal of FTC commissioners, as well as Federal Reserve Board governors.
In other news, Texas can continue requiring public schools to display the Ten Commandments in classrooms. The appeals court upheld the law on Tuesday. Last year, the ACLU and religious freedom organizations filed a lawsuit claiming the law violated the First Amendment and amounted to religious indoctrination by the government. The court rejected those arguments. In its ruling, the court stated, quote, no child was made to respect the commandments, believe them, or affirm their divine origin. The ACLU had weeks involved with the lawsuit say, and take the case to the Supreme Court.
And a newly revealed document is showing the inner workings of how President Trump and his allies are paying for his $400 million ballroom renovation project. It says there's an agreement between the White House, the National Park Service, and the nonprofit Trust for the National Mall. The trust basically accepts donations as determined by the White House for the project. Those donors can remain anonymous. Per the agreement, foreign donors are prohibited, but there is nothing in the contract that prevents donations from entities that have done business with the federal government.
Back with
Checking the markets this morning, stocks are up to under 1%. Just 4 points following the president's announcement of an extended ceasefire in the Middle East. Oil was also up this morning, with Brent crude moving over $100 per barrel. Obviously, keep an eye out on the markets throughout the course of the day and bring you any news as well.
Now to a CBS News exclusive. The parents of a college freshman allegedly killed by a man authorities say entered the U.S. illegally are demanding accountability and change. 18-year-old Sheridan Gordon was gunned down while on an early morning walk with her friends just blocks from her dorm. Authorities say the suspect, who was lurking behind a lighthouse on Lake Michigan, Pier, was living in the country illegally. Her parents sat down with CBS News chief correspondent Matt Dunn. She was really an amazing person. I grieve not only for all of the people that she touched in this life, but the people she won't touch.
Sheridan Gorman was an 18-year-old freshman at Loyola University in Chicago. She was filled with promise and passion. She was her parents' joy.
No one should have to deal with the police coming to your door at 6 a.m., falling to your knees when you hear the news that no parent should ever hear.
There's nothing that prepares you for going to the medical examiner's office and filling out the paperwork. Your hand is trembling, and then you have to go identify your daughter's body. And they ask you if you're ready, and nothing makes you ready for that. On March 19th, Gorman and her friends went to catch a glimpse of the northern lights on Lake Michigan at around 1:30 a.m. It was just about a block and a half from campus. As Gorman reached the end of this pier, she encountered a masked gunman.
He moved towards her threateningly. She turned around and she warned her friends.
Back Wednesday.
And they ran.
The standard shouldn't apply at the time that inquiry is like right in front of you when the person has re-entered.
For the same reason that you don't apply the beyond a reasonable doubt standard at the indictment or at the filing of a criminal information. That's a standard that applies in the ultimate proceeding to determine ultimate innocence or guilt in the criminal case. And in the removal proceeding, the reason the IJ looks at it
Well, that would be true. Like, I understand that if that's the way you look at it, this is kind of the charging stage and that's the adjudication stage. But it does seem like the questions, it seems bizarre that the adjudication stage would sort of look back and ask the question about reentry. It's usually when we're talking about charging and adjudication, the ultimate question is the one that's decided at adjudication. You're not looking back to some prior question. Once you have to look back to some prior question, why aren't you just applying the standard there?
So two things. The first thing I'll say is I just want to be clear about this. The IJ is not reviewing the immigration officer's decision. The IJ is taking a fresh look at the evidence and determining whether, in fact, the LPRs fit one of those 6 categories. So that's number one. Number two, the reason for that oddity is actually just when you stare at the INA long enough, you realize that that has to be how it is because number one, the INA says, and this is 1229A3, it's at page 5A of our opening brief, that the removal proceedings, setting aside expedited removal, are the sole and exclusive procedure for determining admissibility or removability. And then later, it's and earlier in A1, it says that the immigration judge is determining whether he can be deported or removed. And then later in E2, this is on page 6A to 7A of our opening brief, it defines removable in terms of in the case of an alien not admitted and in the case of an alien admitted. And it's that threshold thing, which is actually part of the removability determination, is what the IJ is doing. It just so happens in the case of an LPR in this circumstance that when the LPR comes in, he is admitted or not admitted, depending on whether he satisfies one of these 6 exceptions. And parole, in that case, when the LPR is paroled, it's like hitting a pause button and saying, let's pause things. It's as if the line at Newark Airport took a year for him to get to the front of the line. And so it's just this weird confluence of things is why the IJ is looking backward in point of time, but it is not at all to like review the DHS immigration officer's decision. And that's why you don't apply the burden of proof at the airport. And it just really would be weird to do that because Congress
So I didn't go to Alaska. That's it. When my old duty station, my first duty station went there. That's it. Shit. I'm gonna say shit. They must have done something and then tried to cover it up with margaritas. Yes, they did not. Katanji keep making it about my body being the country's defense. That's it. Then do you just take care of this? So whenever I talk, I'm not gonna turn my head again. If we crazy. Then yes, we who the fuck talk from my lips is crazy. That's it. Hey, Siri. Who sings When We?
Okay, I found this on the web for Who Sings When We. Check it out.